When it's cold outside in the month of May. When it's cold outside in the month of May. When it's cold outside in the month of May. Shorty, where you going? Take her to the lake house. Take her to the lake house. Physical frame, revolver's the name. Government James Doe, cuffin' whipping, changing the lane slow. Chain low, apparently these same hoes ain't changed, yo. Moving same as they came in before. So we leave them in the open lobby, breezes from the open door. They don't need me, I don't need them all. It's either or. Peter Piper, pig peppers, do she eat them raw? Seen them all, seen them come, seen them go. Seen them fast, seen them bold, seen them silly hoes. Seen them like centerfolds, seen the winter coat. Everybody need a winter coat. They need a winter coat, everybody need a winter coat. Get a winter coat. I'm feeling something like it's money on the table, right? Call my people, tell them 8 tonight. Call them haters, say I hate them and I hope they die. If you a player boy, then what the hell am I? I tell you, I don't give a damn about your alibi. Arrows through the heart of my Valentine. They asking questions, I'm answering them all like I'm AI. Bye, 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 baby in the drop tops. 80 saying maybe if you call me, then she might could be my lady. But she faded and I'm hazy doing 80 in the 80s, puffin' blue. Puffin' blue, puffin' blue, puffin' blue. This blue, the smoke in the Bueller, covered Mueller steaks. Confusing the Jakes to cool the case. Skip to the loo on the brakes. Stack cake like Mabel Keys. Pay me late, I'm breaking them knees. I'm on God time, they forget my memories. Fresh as the summer breeze. Poppin' since the Genesis, Genovese. On the open seas, open knees. Hoping, leaving when they coping, please. Copping for Copenhagen, Copenhagen. Splashing classic in college classes. Flashing razors, what's the major? Your minors, I am a minor. Finder of diamonds, climber. I'm on my own consignment. Shining like God's son, the odd son. Awkward, the boss like Barkley. In the lane, in his prime. Ancient lines, ancient mama, ancient mama. Get behind me or get honest. I'm bombing for every summer. The numbers climbing, the murder time and double timing. In the lining of the city where the 50 coming 50, so it's nothing at all. Matumble, too tall to fall, too tall to fail, too big to fail. The third rail, bump like braille, bump like psoriasis patches. When we die, return to ashes. My mathematics was mastered before we split the atoms. In the garden talking to Adam, but Eve babbling about apples. Every time the weed passes, you speaking to asthma. Hard to breathe when you see the rapture. It's all in plastic, charging the king's capture. It's king's ashes scattered across the fiend's mattress. My lean attributes me, I'm still faster than more than half of you. I seen past you like the climax of a movie. You and my flying with IMAX. Gun bundles from Iraq, 40 cows on that tarmac. Underneath the artifacts, flash a little cash. The devils will let you pass with a handshake. When it's cold outside in the month of May. When it's cold outside in the month of May. When it's cold outside in the month of May. Shorty, where you going? Take her to the lake house. Take her to the lake house. Physical frame, revolver's the name. Government James Doe, cuffin' me, whipping, changing the lane slow. Chain low, apparently these same hoes ain't changed, yo. Moving same as they came in before. So we leave them in the open lobby, breezes from the open door. They don't need me, I don't need them always. Either or. Peter Piper, pig peppers, do she eat them raw? Seen them all, seen them come, seen them go. Seen them fast, seen them bold, seen them silly hoes. Seen them like centerfolds, seen the winter coat. Everybody need a winter coat. They need a winter coat, everybody need a winter coat. Get a winter coat. Sports life. Sports life. We'd like to welcome y'all to join in. Well, listen in. You gotta play tune in. What we're talking about. Life is sport. Days and a little of everything. You gotta play. Hopes and dreams for tomorrow. Fears and tears from the past. Sport life. Sport life. Love, loss, love, pain. Fortune. Fame. Sports, technology, science, religion. It's all covered here. All of it. Life. We welcome you too. Well, you gotta play the sport life. The podcast. Come on in. With your hosts, Revolver and Jive. Oh. Sport life. Let's go. Sport life. Life is a sport. You must play. It. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Sport Life Podcast. Hope everybody's had a good week or two. It's been actually 2 weeks since I've been live with you. Last week, I shot y'all a retrospective of the first 15 podcasts. I've had some funny times along the way. Lately, I've been riding more solo. And of course, when I'm riding solo, as you can see, if you've been listening, I tend to talk about more serious things. Lots of politics, which is forefront nowadays. Crazy world we living in. Things are going hamburger. And it seems that no one has been able to stop it, but things may be afoot in the White House. Maybe not, though. Who knows? We did just have a vote, I believe this morning, where Mississippi had their runoff, and the racist as fuck white lady down there was elected, again, by, I guess, a bunch of racist as fuck Mississippians. And I'm going to say it because my family from Mississippi, racist as fuck, was racist as fuck then. I'm younger, but I know the stories. I grew up in the house with my great-grandmother, who was a sharecropper in Mississippi. Grandmother who worked the fields of Mississippi. So fuck Mississippi who voted for that biatch. This shit is crazy. I guess we haven't quite learned, or maybe they have learned and they sticking to their guns. But shit like that needs to stop. But the people still gonna be around, so I guess, you know, what's it gonna do? Go in the closet and still be fucking racist as fuck. But that's what that is, and that's where we is, and that's the state of the politics. Science-wise, we just landed another sweet rover on Mars. That's great. Looks like that technology is getting better and better. We've got a power plant on this one. We ain't got to worry about the solar panels getting dusted up and it having to be off during the sundown hours, the hazy hours, during the storms and all of that. This bad boy has got a power plant built into it. It's going to punch down and just drill, and I guess we'll find out more or more of nothing about Mars. Also, with the Mars thing, every time we do that, I do often wonder why we aren't fixing things here on Earth when you could pile all the people in Earth onto the landmass of, say, Australia, and all of the rest of the land would be free. Seems like we might want to focus on not fucking this planet up any further before we hop off to Mars and all of that. And terraforming and people thinking they're going to go to Mars and live when motherfuckers went out west in the U.S. back in the day and had a hard fucking time living. Motherfuckers came across the ocean and the natives was here. They had a hard time living. So that, you know,
It's good for science and technology and I guess the human race, but it's crazy running the race when your shoes is fucked up. Earth is the shoes, and it's a little fucked up. And we got a president here unleashing shit. He's still talking fossil fuels, still talking about oils and shit like that coming back, and all of that is garbage. I'm sorry for the people that work there, but y'all motherfuckers gotta get up and do something else. Do something else for yourself. Do something else for your kids, and let's just be flat out honest. We know why most of them jobs are being held on with clenched hands and white knuckles and clenched teeth in fear. Has a lot to do with intelligence and education. Now, I'm going to say more education and intelligence, though they are linked. And if you're intelligent, you might want to up your education. But it's the education. We know there's still a vast, vast populace of the United States that, as historically have been, aren't much above an 8th, ninth, 10th grade reading level. And that's where it's sitting. It seems like that's where society kind of want to keep it. That's what makes the sheep. That's what makes people fall for religion. That's what makes people fall for these stupid politicians and the lies. And that's what makes people racist. Unintelligent, lack of education. Keep it rolling. Keep it going. You will be born. You will live. You'll work to fucking death. You have your bullshit family. And you a cog in their system. And all of y'all is going to generate money on a lower level and stress out over lower shit because ain't nobody shooting up on the education. Ain't nobody trying to get out of the motherfucking factories. They thankful for them factories. The factories is what's fucking killing you. You thankful for the money, but the money is what's killing you. It's all a setup. And until people open their eyes and start looking for different things, start making different things, stop allowing society to press us off of getting income, and the money don't even exist. The money don't even exist. They said if you brought all the gold and paper and put it all together, it would amount to nothing. Nothing. This country don't run on actual money that you think you're working from. It is actually running on the debt from the things you working to pay for. You just throwing money into a hole that they created and you created that you're never going to get out of. And when you die, you ain't taking it with you. You're going to leave it to a family member that's going to be in the same crunch. It might help if you can amass something, but, it ain't built for certain cultural groups to amass things. It isn't built for certain sexes, female, to amass things. You can't stop all of it. But for the most part, they do stop most of it. You run into the ceiling. The ceiling ain't even glass. The ceiling is made out of titanium. And broads is breaking their neck on it. Young blacks, young Spanish, breaking their necks on it. Meanwhile, for those that like the status quo on the top, they'll do nothing less than murder you to keep it status quo. You think about what the police line is. This is a country of law and property. Contract law, property law. Crime stems from there. You breaking in, you stealing, you taking something that ain't yours. White collar crime, it's all about theft of property. And if it's money, again, it's imaginary property theft. But it's still gonna fuck your life up. And it's all built off of that same system where you need to keep working, you need to keep grinding, or at least that's what you're convinced that has to happen because we don't see it any other way. You see the other countries, you see, it could be fucked up, like no shoes, no running water, things like that. But we so deep on the technology part, we could all just focus on any one thing. Like NASA focused on getting a rover again to Mars. If one group of intelligent people here focus on one thing, two things, It can be taken care of. But life in the system doesn't allow focus of the average person on anything other than getting through the day. Suffering through the day, getting home, getting out they fucking clothes and shoes. Maybe you might have some fun on the weekend, but then it's back to the grind. I always say, people be all excited on Friday. I've always said, people that know me will tell you, Friday to me, yay, the weekend's coming, but Friday is one of the closer days to Monday in a week. You're not that far away. It's always on reset. You go on vacation, you go on vacation from the grind. When you're on vacation, you know you gotta come back to the grind. The whole vacation thing is a trick and a trap. For you to get away from something where you busting your ass to make an income your whole life, you take a vacation. The vacation costs more to you than it ever would be to just relax at the house, have some fun with your friends. Take that money y'all was all, you and your 5 friends, married couples and kids was gonna spend on vacation, put that in a pile and see what y'all can do with it. Because we travel all the time. And, you know, I know at these $2,000 to $5,000 clips for days to go, you know, and all our friends is traveling at that same clip and higher. We could easily take our vacation money and have $50,000, $100,000, you know, in a couple days, stack that, get some houses and flip it, get some land, get yourself a food truck, do anything, shampoo a dog, cut the dog's hair. I don't know, do something productive so that you ain't just throwing money back into the pit from which it will never return. So as I was saying at the beginning, you know, talk about serious things and what happened. We are coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday, holy day, holiday celebration. We eating, we thinking of the Pilgrims, we thinking of the Native Americans, and it should really be disturbing to each and every one of us that we, Americans, white, black, Spanish, whatever you are, Indian, you are not a Native American, but yet every year you hear celebrating Thanksgiving's Day, and that essentially is a celebration of the eradication of the Native American. The eradication of the Native American and the setting up of the colonies here in America. So, at the expense of and the death of the Native Americans, we celebrate a holiday where we have incorporated like it was some happy fucking celebration, Native Americans and Pilgrims sharing a meal, and that is not what the fuck happened. That is not at all what happened. We are celebrating their death happily, going to the football game, getting drunk, eating turkey. Dude, everybody need to wake the fuck up and stop this bullshit. Stop doing this bullshit. The Indians, they were dead from smallpox. They had this held down. In Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket. When the Pilgrims came over here, the natives had that. That was theirs. They were plentiful. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of them living well, living off the land, great farmers, working the crop, doing their own thing, not worried about so much war. In fact, at that time, the tribes that were there were actually connected to each other. And so the span was from Massachusetts inland, deep, and south. Different names to the clans, but they were connected. However, the king and the queens and them, they sent the Pilgrims over here. Columbus ain't the story. They wasn't running. They wasn't trying to escape England because of religious persecution. That's bullshit. Remember, Columbus was funded by the Queen. Remember that. He's a mercenary. A mercenary. Remember, Columbus came and checked it out. Check your history. He came and checked it out, assessed the situation, went back and said, you know what? They chilling and living so well that I think we could just wipe them out with a few pieces of heat and less than 100 troops. Go back on the boat and I'm going to just eradicate them. Because they're not warlike. Same reason niggas ended up slaves. Most of us wasn't warlike. We were more advanced than the war already. When they brought the war, we had been through the war and it was so far away from us that it was crazy. Besides the gunpowder and the BS and all of the extra stuff, the mere fact of war was so far removed in the history that it was caught us by surprise. Think about it. Think about a group that had been in Africa for thousands of years, not warring anymore, not fuck with anybody that didn't come fuck with them. How long it would take to get that out of a general system, a populist system, that so that war is just pretty much foreign. We only take up arms when it's something crazy. Something crazy. And then it had been so long that there were only a few warrior groups. No communication, so warriors couldn't come help each other. The Zulus couldn't, talk to anybody else to say, hey, this is what's happening on the coast or whatnot. Come help us defend it. No communications. Think about how long it had been to get that out of the African system when it was done to those Africans then, enslaved, and we are still mentally fucked by it. 400 to 500 years after the English version, the Spanish version was first. So a combined 1,000 years of slavery. It's taken this long and it's still fucked up. So think about how long the continent of Africa was unwarlike when war was brought to them. Same thing with the natives here. They weren't thinking like that. And these motherfuckers came with that as the only intent. Conquering, taking property. Again, property. That's why this bitch is still beholden to property and contract law. Because even when they did come and all the natives were ill, and then the king, what was his name? That was King Philip's War, 1975-ish, 76, 78, somewhere in there, after the smallpox, which actually, let me correct that because everybody says it's smallpox. There's some research that says that what actually happened to the natives there was something called leptospirosis, and that is a bacterial infection. It's also known as the 7-day fever or Weil syndrome, Weil. And that's what's said to have decimated the Massachusetts Wampanoag population, which was large, flourishing, and this is where the American version of Thanksgiving arises. Because what happened there was the pilgrims that were there, of course, still in contact with the king, under the service of the king over here to work the property and land for the king's benefit. It was only after the Native Americans, who were living fine, healthy lives, children, not warring, not until they were dying off, which knocked out a large percentage of the men and the young men in the populace. That's just from the illness. Then after the illness, they fire up, King Phillips fires up a little war against the Indians. And that war then takes out another 40 to 50% of those that even had survived from the illness. So now they're really decimated. The numbers are really low. And this here is where Thanksgiving comes from. Those pilgrims all threw up their hands to God, wrote back to the king, "Oh, it's a great time, great day. The Indians are all sick and dead. Their children are all sick and dead. We can now take their land. The remaining few women and few men will take them in, and some of them became slaves as well, early slaves, and we'll take over." That's what they're thanking is for. That's what they're praising God and considering a holy day is the death of the natives. And then it's so super dirty. That's the point. Realize what you're living in. It's so super dirty. It's the same thing as when young black kids get killed by the police. We see the footage and they get off. The story is rewritten the way that they want it rewritten. Thinking that the natives had any, camaraderie, niceness with the pilgrims, and that the pilgrims wanted anything less than the death of the natives and the removal of them from this land so they could work the land and do their property and commerce thing for the king. This is what that was about. And somehow we have been trick-trapped into a peaceful setting of pilgrims and Native Americans around the table having a harvest feast, when the only people having a feast was the pilgrims standing on the graves of the natives. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Why do we allow any of this to continue to happen? It's all a lie. We got to fix the lie. I hear this whole talking. I hear this whole talking about me. I hear this whole talking. They can't do nothing about me. I hear this whole talking. I hear this whole talking about me. I hear this whole talking. They can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. They keep talking. They can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. They can't do nothing. They can keep talking about me. I hear these hoes. 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 Come on, let's walk under the cherry moon. Yeah, our time is coming very soon. Yeah, the lines have clearly been confused. Yeah, we laugh and we are not amused. Yeah, the truth is dark and they barking at the moon. Goons, let's affiliate. Get them off of they men straight, ready for the penetrate. Don't pause or hesitate. Now skate through the cape, bumping Ray Purple's tape. Purple in the paper, purple in the vape. Purple going 8, merging in the bourbon, swerving Jake. Cake in the glove box, next to the rake. When the trees start to fall, all them hoes seem to leave the yard. Be about it, see about it, please. Ease, I hear out it. Talking about me, and they just keep talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. And they just keep talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. They just keep talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. They can't do nothing.
They just keep talking about me. I hate talk horse. 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 I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes. Come on, let's walk into the red dawn, yeah. Yeah. Couple more stops before we move on. Yeah. Loading up the bus, about to head home. Yeah. Sicko flow left the man's home. Yeah, like the shit's gone. Choppers in the open after dawn, the dead gone. Headshot focus, chop it, roll it. Some hands need hold, some plans need going over. Bad press job, pants going over. One leg at a time, just like the rest of us. I'm not inclined to double dutch while the devil hold ropes. While the scopes on the baby's dogs got rabies, Hades on the pavey. Came on the boats, promote to join Navy, sealed and delivered. Shiver me, timbers deliver. Me from the cotton fields, cops kill with swagger, ops steal with daggers. Baggers in the alley still looking for magic, but leaving more baggage than they came with. Ease out. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. I hear these hoes talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. I hear these hoes talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. But they just keep talking. Cause they can't do nothing about me. I hear these hoes talking. I hear these hoes talking about me. But they can't do nothing. They just keep talking about me. I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes.
No.
I hate these hoes. I hate these hoes.
Yeah, we back. The other day I was thinking about, well, I'll give you a little background. We are in, if you are a listener, you know, I'm in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan. Our football team is the Detroit Lions. And, well, team kind of sucks. And what I was thinking about was we are season ticket holders. We've been season ticket holders for a few years. And our team kind of does the same thing every year. Not that we, you know, because a good Lions fan to tell you, it's been years. We ain't won a Super Bowl. We won a championship back in the 50s, I believe. We've been to 2 playoff games, I think, in the last 30 years. Got hold in, I think, the Dallas Cowboys game a few years back. And then before that, it had been a number of years. So as we are dumping our money into the season tickets every year, now we're not, you know, we ain't crazy. We got a little extra loot, you know, whatever extra loot is. And it's entertainment for me and the wife. Something to do on a Sunday. Relatively close. The stadium is great. Food's good. Drinks are good. We have a good time. A lot of smokers there. We have a good time when we go. Other than the game itself, a lot of those games are just painful, drawn out, just not good. And there have been times like this season in particular, why this came up. We've got another, what are we at? 8 games. So we got another 5 games left, I think. 4 games left, somewhere in there. And, you know, about 2 games ago, this season and a couple seasons in the past, we've been able to determine that our team ain't fucking going nowhere. This year, we traded Golden Tate. Our next receiver in line, Galladay, young cat, I believe he was next up. I think he just got injured. I think he's out for the rest of the season. But either before Golden was even gone, we could determine by the wins and losses, because they tend to lose shit that they're supposed to win and somehow win shit that they're supposed to lose. We could determine early on, 5, 6, 7 games in, that the season was done. And I think it's probably not great business on the it's great business in one way, customer service wise and the fan wise, but just for your bottom line and the salaries that go out. I do understand that the season tickets prices, concession, and all of that is feeding back into the bottom line of the owner of the franchise or owners for the money that they have extended on contracts that go out, 3 to 5 years at heavy rates. So I do understand they're refilling the coffers, and every year prices tend to inch up on beer, hot dogs, concession, clothing, all of that. Seat prices, of course, tend to inch up. However, the salary cap pretty much has stayed the same. So that's another little freaky thing why our numbers moving around and the salary cap stays pretty solid. So their expenses are never going to be out of the water. And if they do, they're supposed to take that hit on their own books, not trickle it down to the fans. So that's neither here or there. That is really here and there. But what I was considering was if I was a team owner, and I know a lot of these guys are billionaires, multimillionaires, it's really not hurting them. But imagine how live your fan base would be if they knew they would get a refund as a season ticket holder when the season is shot halfway through. Obviously shot halfway through. Jesus ain't coming down and putting on pads. And I believe if Jesus came down and put on pads for the Lions, I believe he would get bloodied up and beat into hell, and God wouldn't even let him back into heaven. I believe it would be that bad. He would be cursed out like the Lions, who seem to turn good and great players into walkaways, humbled men, and just shook athletes who begin to wonder themselves, how does all the calls go against the team? And no, we're not going to pull that bullshit that every team thinks that the calls are going against them, because this ain't the same thing. Other teams don't generally, for years running, this year thus far, and we've been close to some things, and I think we got somewhere last year too, but many of the last season's rules that have affected the entire league have originated out of a Lions game. Something fucked up that happened with a Lions game. A turnover, something that couldn't be seen, something that could be seen. A call that seemed to have not, a rule that wasn't quite in the books, and refs had to get together and huddle and come up with something, and then the next year it's in the book. A lot of that shit comes from the Lions games. People don't realize continuation of the catch in the end zone. That came from Megatron, homeboy. That's us. This shit didn't exist before us. It worked different before they got their hands on the Lions. So when you're a player here and you're seeing all the foul tips, it's not basketball, but it's a tip. All the batted passes seem to fall into the arms of the defense. You start to think maybe there is something with this team. Maybe the Lions and the Cubs got theirs. The Browns are going to get theirs. Maybe it is something about this specific team that makes cats like Megatron, Mr. Johnson, makes cats like Barry Sanders just step away from the game when they clearly had a few years left. And could have gamed niggas really for them few years. It wasn't like they was falling off. Barry hadn't fallen off. Barry hadn't run behind a full-on offensive line his whole career. And when his line was good, he didn't use his line. He wasn't a north-south runner. He get north and south, but he was a lateral mover first. So even when his line was good, it wasn't all about the line because he didn't use them a lot. He let them get players out the way and was going somewhere totally different. Totally different. The boy's vision was out of fucking sight. Ha. Pun intended. But what about the team makes, players walk away and we see it We see people get hurt. We see people like Sue come here, and while he's here, somehow the front office sees everything that Sue does, blames him for everything, calls him a monster, and the boy was just playing defense. It was a little crazy at times. He had a little get on him. You want to fuck with him. That was the thing. He didn't want you to fuck with him. And that's how you act when it is. When you fuck with him and do some foul shit, he don't forget it. You might get kicked later in the game. But he wasn't just clowning for no fucking reason. He wasn't Draymond Green in this shit, where he just kneeing a nigga because he coming through and he know, okay, you're going to be there, you're going to catch a knee, and then I'm going to, what? It wasn't even like that. Shit just breaking down and falling all around you. Meanwhile, the season ticket holders, patrons, fans, I ain't a fan, ain't no fanatic in me or anything, keep coming up in there. Like I said, ours is just entertainment. It's something to do. But other people, we see them fans up in there with their heart getting shook every year, some sort of hope. And if you listen to our FM radio around here, our sports talk radio, shout out to 97.1, the ticket, you will know that a lot of, if not most of the Lions fans, we will still go, but we ain't got no faith. We know what's up. We hope for hope's sake, but I really would, as the owner of a team, I think refund all that money back to my fans. And I bet in the long run and the short run, because next season, if we was going to be coming back anyway, we would still come back. Plus, there would be more people. And we're not, we're not under the curse of having an empty stadium either. We pretty full most of the time, if not full. And then on any of the Thanksgiving Day games, Monday night and all that we catch here and there, we do be full, we do get rowdy. But we kind of get rowdy for no reason. We just up in there having a time while the team, we wait around to see what kind of tragedy is going to be set the fucking team and what way they're going to lose it or make it look like they had a chance at the end. Why not give that money back to the fans? Why not refund or give the option that after, say, 7 games, we'll take you a little over halfway of the season, then any season ticket holder can get a refund on his tickets. Not have to sell them or eat the cost on a suck-ass team when it happened, but be able to get the money back from you. We'll be there next year. I promise you. Because a lot of us ain't there for the team 100. We there. We waiting for the team. We waiting for it to happen. But we'll be there. And we'll bring our friends because we know this ain't just going to be a shit show of us throwing money at some bullshit. If we feel like going, we'll be there. And if the team's good, bonus. But if we knew if the team sucked, the money's going to come back. And not to fuck with a professional salary because they did their work to get there. But in all honesty, my contracts would be sliding. I think all the league's contracts should be sliding. Let you can get a bonus on teams for doing certain things, special things, certain amount of sacks, certain amount of tackles, certain amount of rebounds, certain amount of points, certain amount of wins, different championship levels, different pennant. There are all these things put in to make a player charge up and do a little more. But of course, that is that is for ownership. Because if you do better, that I cut you a little extra money out of my billion. If you knock a cat head off for extra time, that's benefit me as the owner, though. However, it would be interesting to see you got your salary, but then halfway through the year, same thing with the season tickets. When we can get our season tickets back, get the refund for the remainder of the season's games, or however many of them we want to, pick out of there. The players salary should decrease. It should decrease if you suck. It literally should decrease if you suck. Why would you take, for instance, our quarterback, Stafford? I don't think he is the highest contract anymore. But early in the season, at the beginning of the season, when he re-upped and signed, that was the largest contract in the league, period. All players, not quarterbacks alone, not receivers, not linemen. It was the largest in all. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, forgive me, but I know it was right there. If not, he's probably been passed now because there have been some signings since, of course, big signings of quarterbacks, etc. But at this point in the year, that should decrease. That should come down. Because not that players do it on purpose. Could be mental. It could certainly be the rest of the league in basketball or baseball, not as much. Basketball and football and hockey, because an opposing player can immediately come at you. And we do know that will happen. If I'm on the other side of the field and I got a $50 million man in front of me and I'm looking like I make 10, there's no way that cat's worth 50. I'm going to try to knock 10 million out of you every time I touch you. So, of course, that could happen. My D on the court, when I'm facing somebody that I don't think, or I'm just like, why is they paying this cat so much money? The defense going to clamp down. Doubles is going to come. Harder picks are going to come. It's going to change you up. And only the true walk through that. And after they've earned that check, the next season's make it look like they should have earned that check. There is a fall off level. If not, it's hard to stay steady. But if it's mental, if it's the other teams coming at you harder, if it's just the pressure now that you've got all that on your back, all the expectations, because it's built into the money, that you're just not the same. Our QB seems to have regressed. I'm watching many a play. I know football pretty goddamn good. And unfortunately, our playbook is so motherfucking soft. I know the entire playbook, it seems, or if I don't know the entire thing, I certainly know the fucking 10 plays that they run. But even on those 10 plays, I'm sitting here watching my man go through progressions that don't exist. I'm talking about playing with your eyes closed. I'm talking about the thing no professional athlete or non-professional athlete should ever do. I'll tell you, here's a little secret. Keeping your eyes open, even as a boxer, greatest boxers. Go back and look at some film. Look at current. They don't close their eyes even when a punch coming. Man, close when they get popped. But this is just because that's what your body do. But you keep your eyes open at all times. That is your gift as a human. That all these things are connected, and your eyes are the things that make your arms able to reach a mile away. The eyes are the connection. So if you playing the sport and you're not using your eyes, you got your head down all the time. You blink when something's coming at you. You brace for impact. I watch a lot of players, and this is, I tell you, when you on defense as a football player and you about to hit somebody, don't close your eyes at the last minute. This is how you end up with your fucking neck broke. This is how players come across each other, didn't know that their own player was coming across to deliver the hit because they both got their eyes closed. At the moment when the eyes should be open, prepping, letting your body see where the contact points are going to be so your mind and your body can be in sync and be prepared to take that blow. You bracing for impact with your eyes closed and randoms coming through with hard pads on at full speed. And the things you don't see are the things that hurt you. This is key lesson in boxing, I think, is number 2, because 1 is always protect yourself at all times. But protect yourself at all times is also a derivative of keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Don't have your hands down in the corner. Don't be, thinking you're going to walk away from somebody that's firing shots at you. You got to keep your guard up or you got to drop to a knee at all times. And even in boxing, when you're on your knee, when you're going down to your knee, unless you dazed out, you still better be guarding your head, because I'm telling you, some of the most nasty shots in boxing you'll ever see is 2 and 3 before the person hits the canvas. Up on their feet, 1 and 2's the one to shake them up. But when they falling and them fucking body hooks come through, that's supposed to be meant for the body, but your jaw is at that level, them shots to kill people. You got to keep your eyes open at all times. That's just a lesson. It will help you out. It will help you. Your body can survive amazing things if you just let your eyes see it and your brain calculate it. Your body can do the rest. Now, my point, however, here was our QB is regressing, and I think that money should come down. I think we should be able to get money back. I think their salary should decrease, and I don't think it's weird, but I almost would like to eradicate long-term contracts. Now, that, of course, is bullshit, because I'm on the side of the athlete. Way, 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 way before any owner. I'm probably never going to be on the side of owner, because I don't know any that have shined any spectacular light on the things and services that they're doing. Everybody's football team is doing the same cancer stuff and blah, 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 in the troops and blah, blah, blah. All of that, they're using us and blah, blah, blah. None of them are doing anything special. Those are things that companies do for the public good that's built into the system. They'll look at you fucked up if you ain't doing the basic bullshit, but ain't none of them popping out doing nothing special. So I'm not going to be on the side of an owner. I'm going to be on the side of a player who's still doing shit, giving to the community and stuff, and doing a job that could kill him. Ain't no owner ever been killed in the booth unless they had a heart attack while they was eating a fucking shrimp or something. But the player, even though on the side of the player, there's got to be an adjustment. And I know that single year contracts with numbers that can decrease or increase for a young man or woman setting up their household, trying to live somewhere, trying to get some roots established, that's not going to be right. It's not. That's why I said it's bullshit. I can call my own opinion or my own thought on it bullshit, but my entire thought is what I'm standing on here. That's the basis. The entirety of a fan who's paying to see a product, who then gets a pie in the face, not being able to get any money back. You can, of course, check out, but your money spent. On the owner side, their money's spent, but it's never really spent, because there are options to trade things that are worth something, potentially. My ticket I can sell, and I guess you may want to equate that to a trade possibility, but my ticket's no longer worth anything to me or anybody outside here that I could sell it to, because the team would be sucking at the time. So I have no value here. I'm just lost. I could stay at home and not watch it, but you'll still have my money. You still already got my money. I would like my money back. On behalf of all the fans in the country, to all the owners, we would like our season ticket money back when the team sucks.
Which way is up?
How is that?
Yeah. The floor felt like swordfishes. Points digging in my lower lumbar. No sleep or slumbar. For the wicked, piglets bake on blocks, Glock spitting, pot pissing, pop pistons, bob hitting, corners, 6 rings but 7 coroners rock, chop the block like Monopoly boards. Your boys the ops, but y'all some following whores. I can't tell y'all to stop. Bullets still flying in Zion, iron sliding in Palestine. Quiet the lion slumber. Bias been lying all summer. Count the number of the beast. This crown will be like burnt umber, forked tongue speech. He who seeks plunder, prince on the thieves of wings of thunder. Do you understand the hunger of sanctions under inflation's pontification is like fuck 'em, fuck everybody to touch 'em. Hope they die in the rain, knowing that nobody love 'em. I am published, I speak for the public, we the republic, customary bugle. Boy, I'm still riding in neutral. Where we go from here is mutual. Civil war and funeral runs. Us wild, SS number one is there still riding back on Air Force One.
I remain unrepresented, chained in my cell in a strange fucking prison. Not a name but a cog in a false sentence. Rich get rich, the poor just die sicker.
So I figured just throw a rager. I would even invite all the haters. Right now we riding for something major. We riding for something more than just paper.
Yeah, stay out my beers or catch vapors. Y'all niggas softer than one orange now later. I was a player and I crushed a lot. Salem's lot, bring the bodies in and lay them up. I don't sleep, all I think about is staying up. Metaphysically, physically, I'm in a wallless cage. Right now we walking through a lawless age. Guard your face, my niggas out there, you better guard your grace. The race been won. Just cleaning up some garbage before trash they come. Ashtray blunts look like stumps in the forest gump. How many lumps would you like? How many come through nights? How many 1-2 fights? How many guns to knife fights? How many left turns before you and me is done right? How much bad sex she had before she turned into a righteous woman? You a sucker, boy. I'm just dumbing for certain things. My patience is thin, I stay hungry. We can see Koch and return shots like bungee. Bitches in the streets fighting, tying off scrunchies. I be high all the time, but never say no hunchies. That's professional grade. Turned around, fucked around, became professional slaves. Anyway, cold world, ain't it? Anyway, the drama streaming live for you and me every day.
It's hard to know sometimes which way is up. I remain unrepresented, chained in my cell in a strange fucking prison. Not a name but a cog in a flawed system. Rich get rich, the poor just die sicker.
So I figured just throw a rager. I would even invite all the haters. Right now we riding for something major. We riding for something more than just paper.
Sometimes it's hard to know which way is up. We got the whole game up. Which way is up? Sometimes it's hard to know which way is up. They got the whole thing fucked. Which way is up?
Yeah. So I want to thank y'all again for joining me on this week's Spotlight podcast. And I'm going to tell you about a few things that are coming up. A couple new segments that I'm going to be putting in the upcoming weeks, I believe starting with the next podcast. We will have a section called Racism Today. Kind of self-explanatory. What I will do, though, is I will likely be going through national newspapers. I'll pick a story, and we'll discuss the racist components of the situation. If it has a historical link, we'll talk about legal links. And we'll talk about system parameters and pressures that place a lot of folks into some of these racist situations. We will also be adding a section. I am also an author, so there will be a book reading section. And what I believe is I'm going to, I think, just begin to read through like a book on tape. This is going to be the first documented here book on pod. I will be reading from the first book I wrote years ago called Doomed. Interesting story. And we'll keep that going. I'll do maybe 10, 15 minutes. In between 5 and 15 minutes every podcast, and we'll keep it going, and just read all the way through. Book got some interesting stuff, some biblical stuff, some twists and turns, and just some sci-fi, some crazy shit. Good characters and all of that. You should like it. And after that, we'll do. That's going to take a while. It is a good 300 pages or so. And then we will get into the next book, The Democracy of Death. Same reading parameters, 5 to 15 minutes per podcast. We are also going to add a segment called The Id. The id from Latin meaning self. And the reason I'm putting this in is because I know of a lots of podcasts. I do check podcasts. I've been watching podcasts before I started mine, just to see what was out there and try not to step on any toes, because of utmost importance to me is originality along with the fire. Truth along with the fire. So, in what I've noticed in most of the podcasts, other than a few, give a shout out to Joe Budden and the Joe Budden podcast, because Joseph is one that speaks his heart. He'll tell you some fucked up shit, and that's what I like about him in their show, in their podcast. It's more real, and with what he's been through in his life, the addictions and all of that, he is more on his sleeve with what he talking and thinking, and he'll let you know. That's part of the id, expressing the self, questioning the self, wondering how I got here, what I did. That is not spoken about on most podcasts, never on the news, never in politics, pretty much never anywhere. People give a lot of opinions, but they don't necessarily dive deep into the id. They, there's a lot there that can be adjusted and fixed when you know that the originating factor and a lot of the things that are happening to you, me, or anyone else is built on things that were put into our id. We might not have wanted them there, but because of education, parenting, society, they ended up in our id. And before you knew it, they were part of you. For the flat earth people, it's the globe in the back of the room. Our id is affected like that. You don't really have to tell you, but you keep seeing it. It keeps happening, and before you know it, it's a belief that you have. It's in you, but you don't really necessarily know how it got there. It just seems like it had always been there. And with the personality and how you react to things, it's coming down a lot from the parents or parent or hood, uncles, things like that really affect how you get along in this world and with others. Needs self-examination. So we're going to dig into some of that. That might not be every week, and that will be by different people. And if it is other people, they'll just have a feeling and they'll parse it out for you. And if they want to discuss it afterwards, we'll discuss it afterwards. But really, it doesn't up front need any discussion, because the important thing is you are doing the self-examination, which people are so far away from now. If you question somebody, if you try to help half the people, you end up being called a bully. You have a strong opinion, you have some forthrightness and some strength and character on your own. It's like every bitch nigga in the world pop out and say you bullying them, and there no longer is a right and wrong. It's a right in my fucking feelings. And that's really a bunch of bullshit. Because that's not what it is. Everybody got feelings. So if everybody got feelings, how can anything work if everybody's based on feelings? It's just a fucking circle fuck of nonsense. But now we've got it to the point where you walk into the circle of nonsense with a little bit of logic, they'll stone you. They'll stone you and take their little participation ribbons and go on back home, get on the internet and claim to be bullied by somebody that ain't touching them. That id, that is what the id has become. The id is just, it's you. The id is society has an id. All of that. Also, probably will be adding a children's section, I think, where we'll have someone, teenager, someone below 20 or so that will maybe come on and discuss or send in questions that they have, or something that they want to talk about, something they're seeing or that's affecting them at their age or their level that we may not be aware of. Let a kid talk about it because it's silly for us to talk about what a kid does, like I just did, because they may be able to actually explain how that bullying works. Older generations, we're not old, but we're right above them. We don't really get it. We don't understand how you can be bullied and not bully us, not physically bully us. You can't mentally as much bully our generations as the current. So that'll be another section. Also, I'm going to be adding just a general shout out. It'll be called Shout Out Twos. And what that is just as I notice in life things that do stand out. I'm always looking for things that stand out. It could be something a person did, family member. It could even be an animal doing a crazy trick or doing whatever. It could be, I'll give you my first one and you'll see how weird it can be. We got new appliances this week, and as we were setting up everything, we were putting the drawers and stuff in the new fridge, and all the glass pieces and all the drawers and everything, so they wouldn't slide around, the doors and everything, they had tape on them, blue tape, that you could tell was put on by a human, wasn't put on by any machine. The areas it had to get in and how it was taped. You know that this is somebody working on a line, that they're at the end of the line and they wrapping tape. I wanted to give a shout out to whoever and all of y'all whose job it is to put that blue fucking tape on all those pieces inside the refrigerator, because that shit is hard to get off. And some of that shit was put in there in just such a great way. George wasn't moving around or nothing, but boy, it was hard to get out. So I knew it was hard to put on. And that's somebody's job to do that all day. Shout out to them. Shout out to the people that put the blue tape in the fridge, because y'all doing y'all thing. And it took me a while to peel all that shit off. And it didn't leave no mark. So that means that it's super good tape, and they're pretty accurate with their tape, because there wasn't no peel off marks or anything like that. It was just in there. So shout out to them. So that's what I'm saying. That's what the shout out to sections would be. I'll often see good commercials on television, and I'll comment, like if something stands out, it stands out. So I will mention it. And the shout out might have a negative connotation to it, because I can right now also give a shout out to all these fuck companies that are using Prince songs and Michael Jackson songs in commercials since they dead. Shout out to y'all dirty motherfuckers using the Kings and the Prince against the consumer. We was fine without hearing their music there. We, you know, wasn't it the Stones or whatever that said they wasn't gonna have their shit or nothing? I mean, they eventually, recently did, in the last few years did, but I get the point. And I think it's real dirt baggage to use it after they dead if you wasn't using it while they was here. What's up? Who sold y'all the music? And when they sold it to you, company, being in the black, profit-driven fucking American corporations, you didn't have any fucking feeling of anything that maybe, and especially the Prince, since all the contract shit and the slave shit, and also I'm supposed to believe that man didn't have a will. That's another crazy thing. But also, like I've said before, I will do the full circle of thought. That is crazy, and I say it's crazy like a lot of people, because who would do something so foolish? But, who would be popping pills at that level? So that's foolish. But on the other side, once you've tangled with and got entangled with the companies and the government and having the right slave on your face or whatever, you may not have wanted to put your money into anything else with the contract and you signing your name on it. You may have been a little skittish about all that. But my point, shout out to the dirty motherfuckers that's doing that. So who's got the rights and who's selling the music to them? And it's just not right. And then I think that is going to be most of. I've got a lot of stuff coming, but I'll also have a segment called First Half, Second Half. We're in the beginning of the show. It could be funny. It could not be funny. I will say the first half of something, and later on in the show, you'll get the second half. So you get to ponder what that second half could be. And when we're live and streaming, we'll allow the listeners to fill in what that second half is, and we will select the best of those offered to fill in what the second half of the statement would be. So that is it for this week's show. I hope you all have a safe, happy, and healthy and harmonious week. Until next time, this has been Revolver, the Grind League. This is Sport Life, signing out. Yeah. Peace.